Have you ever twitched and sneezed at the same time?
Yes.
Is it a frequent thing that happens?
Not frequent, but it has happened. And yeah, I've twitched and burped. I've twitched and other things at the same time, often in front of people. Yeah.
How is it? What's like the weirdest thing? Because I noticed you were twitching, and I'm like, is she not interested in what I'm saying?
Oh no, yeah, no, I am. I am interested.
I just thought it was like, this isn't keeping my attention.
Yeah.
I'm freaking out. But
I mean, maybe I do that like right now. Maybe I do that around people that annoy me. I don't know. I get now I gotta go back and like look at all my previous social interactions to see did I do that. What was your question?
no, it's just kind of like just twitching because I noticed you have that. And you
Yeah.
have jokes about that, so I was curious. Like, do you notice like there's like I feel like because you lived long enough where it's like this happens when this happens.
Yeah.
But is that not happened or?
Um. Okay, hold on. So people. Hold on, I forgot what you just asked.
No, just like did you notice like this is what triggers like a tick?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So if I'm over, so I have Tourette syndrome. So that comes with like twitching and OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. So that all like kind of goes together in the same Tourette's umbrella. So my twitches, um, they're just there all the time, but they're a lot calmer. Like when I'm just on my own, like drawing or just laying in bed or something. But if I'm in front of people, on stage or just like outside of my house, I'll twitch because it's like my body's way of saying, "Oh, this is something you shouldn't do right now, so you're gonna do it." That's kind of like what Tourette's is. Like I don't need to do. Okay, here's an example. When I play piano, so my whole life I've played piano and I've had Tourette's most of my life. So I play piano, and as soon as I sit down at the piano and I put my hands over it, I will start going like this. Now I can control it. You can control Tourette's, you just can't control the urge to twitch. So I'll do this when I play piano because my body knows you shouldn't do that while you play piano. So when I'm on stage, even though I feel completely comfortable on stage most of the time, I'll still twitch because it's like, oh God, 50 people are watching me right now. What shouldn't I do? And yeah.
Oh, the Grinch.
Yeah, thankfully I've never had like a lot of people with Tourette's or just tics in general have vocal tics like that where they will like say things. I've never had that. I just do like
Because I think when people think Tourette's, they think of that like bitch, and then like they
Yeah.
think of that like that stereotype.
yeah, it's a small percentage of like 10 I don't remember, a small percentage of people with Tourette's that have the cussing thing. And I mean, it would be hilarious. I mean, honestly, if I met someone else with Tourette's who had that, I might secretly laugh, but I would feel their pain. So I
Well,
would.
not that I feel like it's just funny with the situational. It's like when I play with my niece, it's always fun because I'm just there for that sample size. But there's this guy or this girl, and she orgasms like 800 times a day. And she said like it's from the smallest thing when I'm on the bus and someone bumps my shoulder, and it's
Oh,
just like
no.
it's not fun at all. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that sounds terrible. Yeah, I like that sample size. Um,
I wish I could just go to Costco. Just try this sample of Tourette's for like 20 minutes.
yeah, it included with this Tourette's is a jar of pickles. That's it. Jar of pickles.
So like we really need to get rid of these Tourette's. If you could just take some right now, that'd be great.
Yeah, they might make you bark, but that's why they're so cheap.
Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you noticed, kind of just piggybacking off of like OCD, Tourette's, and all that? Have you noticed like it impedes your life, like job interviews or just in a social setting that's not in the comedy world?
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, I have a very hard time, not not really because of the twitches, because I guess because I've accepted the. I used to have a really hard time with the fact that I twitched. It was so embarrassing and people made fun of me for it. Now I've just accepted it and I don't really care if it happens or if people see it. So job interviews and stuff, the twitches and stuff haven't affected me. It's the mental illness and the OCD and the depression and the anxiety that which makes me and the self hate, the low self-esteem issues, the major trauma that hasn't been addressed that I really need to go back to therapy for, because maybe I'll be able to work again, and like because I suck at working, and because of my mental illness.
Yeah, I saw you post about a job and you kind of blacked out every single job as like a.
Oh yeah. That's why I want to go to therapy, because I think if I unlock certain things, because I'm on like the self-love journey, if I unlock a few more things and then figure out what to do about them, I'll be able to do everything. But until then, I'm going to live with my parents for the next 20 years until I get there.
That's happens. It happens. You talk about the self-love thing. Is that like this? Like you just read a bunch of self-help books too, or what is that to you? The self-love journey.
Not self-help books or anything like that. It's just like, I've always treated my body poorly, like been a binge eater, like, energy drinker, just used food and stuff to deal with emotions. Like, I get scared while I'm driving, or I get anxious, and then I reach for a bag of M&Ms. I'm like, like that's how I cope. And so it's like, okay, I'm eating better. I'm looking within and like connecting all the points. Like, oh, this is why this happened. This is why I was like this when I was 13. That's why I did that. Okay, this makes sense, and no wonder I always get like this, because this happened to me. And how do we get away from that, and start feeling better about ourselves, where we can go back to work and work like a full-time job, or where we can go into social situations, like walk into a show and not like drive to a show, sit in the parking lot for an hour, and then drive away without going in because I'm so anxious, which I have done at Improv Mania multiple times.
No. How do you think? Because I was curious, because I have a buddy of mine that she would have anxiety attacks while she drives, and we'd be mid-conversation, and then she would just go silent, and then she'd just stop. And I was curious, because it's just like, if you have it multiple times, you know nothing's gonna happen. Then what is the fear? Like, what do you think? Have you had anxiety attacks?
So I've never really had an anxiety or like a panic attack. I have more like the overthinking and the thinking of the worst case scenario. So, and I think I'm hyper vigilant, so I'm always on edge no matter what I'm doing. So driving, I'm like, I just think like, okay, I don't even realize I have anxiety when I'm driving. It comes out in me like, oh, suddenly I really want to eat something, or damn, I wish I had some weed right now, or damn, I wish I had some coffee to deal with my anxiety, which
sounds
is
so paradoxical.
It's the weirdest fucking thing. But that is something I realized recently. Like, why do I use coffee or caffeine to deal with my anxiety? And I looped it back to the first time I used coffee as a drug. And it was after I was treated poorly by a dude. It's like, oh, connections. So, and then after I realized that, I was like, I don't feel like drinking this coffee right now. And it was amazing. But then I went to Sonic a few days later, and I was like, oh, their cold brew is good.
Never heard anyone go to Sonic for cold brew.
Don't do it. It's milk. It's coffee milk, and I hate drinking milk, so I don't get it.
How do you think, because you said you're an overthinker, do you think when you look back at these traumatic situations that you've had in your life, in hindsight, it's always like, oh, well, that was just, maybe they didn't think that, or do you think they're really traumatic, or do you think you overthinking it in hindsight?
I think there was definitely a level of trauma, not necessarily like a big trauma. Like, I wasn't in a car accident. I didn't have a life-altering event happen like that. But, hold on. Let me go. What were you asking? Hold on.
Do you want me to repeat it?
Yeah.
No, I was saying, like, how do you know something is traumatic, or really just you overreacting because the way you think in the moment? Because I feel like kids, we never think something's traumatic because we think it's normal. Like, there was this is kind of something I just heard on the Joe Rogan podcast, but this girl, she escaped North Korea, and she said it was normal to see dead bodies every single day. And like, it wasn't like a shocking thing. It was just like, oh, that's just how it is. So so did you see stuff like, oh, that was normal, or you're like, I was just really overthinking it at that time?
Both. And I think with OCD, something that wasn't necessarily traumatic, that let's say something happened when I was 12 or so like the actual event, whatever happened, wasn't necessarily traumatic. But with OCD, I have intrusive thoughts. That's how my OCD comes out. And so I will think about something that hurt me or bugged me to the point where it traumatizes me with because of the intrusive thoughts. So I think that's the what you were saying. So even though the situation might not have been like if a let's say it was like a boy teasing me in elementary school, which was, I wouldn't say it was a trauma, but it was a big issue for me. Over the years, my obsessing over it and all the intrusive thoughts and the self-hate thoughts have turned it into a trauma. Just the way my brain treats it like a trauma. The way my body handles it is, whoo, wow! I've never said that out loud, but that felt good. Shit, man, maybe I'm not gonna go to the gas station and get coconut M&Ms and eat them in the car today.
When you binge eat, do you think, have you ever tried like, oh, I didn't binge eat this one time and I couldn't handle it, or like what's the comfort that takes place in that? Like, where do you find solace in it?
Like where do I find solace in the binge eating or the not?
Because the binge eating is a reaction to kind of the feeling overwhelmed, correct?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we all find our vices. I feel like anything with moderation is okay, but is it just because it's so easy to access it, or have you had other vices in your life, like, oh, just I played too much video games, and then, or maybe I don't know, just played Tetris, or has it always been just binge eating?
It's primarily been, not primarily, it started off with binge eating. I think that was the habit or the addiction I chose when I was younger. I think, in my family, my mom was very into Weight Watchers, and she was into, stuff like that. So I kind of got, that was probably part of my influence, like, kind of living in a diet culture where I couldn't eat, we didn't have, like, a lot of fun foods in the house, and when we did, I was like, and so, but I was heavily a binge eater when I was a kid, middle school, high school, college. Oh my god, eating full jars of peanut butter. What?
That's insane, honestly.
That was fucking insane. And I was a skinny little bitch. Like, I thought I was the fattest thing ever. I was skinny. What the fuck? Anyway, but then it led to, okay, well, that food isn't doing it for me anymore, so I'll keep binging, but now I'm gonna take Benadryl, because Benadryl helps me get away from all my bad thoughts about how I hate my non-existent butt, or how my spine is crooked, or how this guy doesn't love me even though he's a terrible guy. And so I went to Benadryl and sleeping pills, and then I used to get drunk a lot, but I was never really addicted to alcohol, because peeing. I don't like peeing.
Yeah, so much pee.
So much peeing, and at least with guys, you can, like, go, out to the alleyway and, like, pee with your friends, but with girls, it's like an event.
This is just about peeing. I was at I was at Bella Vista, but I had like 3 20 ounces. And then I was like, you know what? I'm drinking, so I better drink water. And it's just like I peed, but if still I drained, but I still felt like I had to pee, and I was like, this is the worst feeling. Like
that is. See, that's one of the main reasons I stopped drinking, and also like it was just not really my thing. But I am envious, like when I go out to bars and like comics are drinking, and it's like, I want to join them, but I'll just be in the bathroom the whole time.
Well, have you found yourself that you can't do anything casually, or it's like all or nothing?
It's yeah, that it's hard for me. Like with weed, like weed's a big one. Like I get it. I get addicted to buying weed and then the ritual of it, and then it's like I find myself doing it every day, and I don't even enjoy it anymore. I just do it because I feel like this is part of me. I have to do it. But it's like I can't really enjoy stuff casually, because I'll find a way to abuse anything. Like if you give me protein drinks, like Josh was telling me about pre-workout, and I was like, oh shit, I want to try. Oh, you know what? I want to try pre-workout. And then I was watching a TikTok or like a video about a guy who murdered someone, and they were talking about how he used smelling salts to pump him up in the morning, and I was like, oh shit, where can I get me some smelling salts? Maybe that will make it easier to socialize with people. Whoa.
So I never heard smelling salts. Like,
Oh, that was actually on a podcast, Scissor Bros. They did a smelling salts challenge, but like they smelled it and like they woke up. And I haven't tried it and I'm not going to, but my first thought was, well, maybe I can start going to open mics again. If I have smelling salts, then I'll have an easier time talking to people.
do you do you look for faults in your ideology ever? Like when you think of something? Because I always think when I have an idea that I really like, what if the best debater on the opposite side came up to me and it was just like, no, actually, let me tell you why running is like the worst thing in the world. And then something like, let me listen to an idea of like, oh, this is why running is actually the best thing in the world. Do you think about that when you have ideas like smelling salts before shows?
I know that, like, I mean, the majority of my thoughts, I think, even the rational thoughts have a big are like 75% irrational and crazy and insane and based on mental illness. I don't know. And so, yeah, I think, yeah, there's probably something wrong with this or something that could go wrong with this that I should look into. But I just accept the fact that there is something wrong with this. I don't know what. And then I'll just deal with it until something happens or someone tells me that I shouldn't do this. And then I'll double down and do it for a while and continue.
I love your exclamation points with like your body and your brain.
Yeah, it's like I never say these things out loud, and so now that I do, it's like because I haven't been to therapy in fucking years, and so this is like therapy.
Do you find? Because I find it's always easier to talk to strangers about problems, or just like people that I'll talk to like my wife or my mother, but I feel like if I talk to like somebody that I don't see every day, like I like talking to my buddy Tyler because I see him probably like twice a month,
Yeah.
and it's just like I feel like I don't have to. There's not like an immediate follow up about what we talked about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I have an. Yeah, I think maybe I do have an easier because I have an easier time talking with strangers because like you can also I can kind of improvise with them. I don't. It's like oh well I don't. I can yes and whatever they're doing and I can put myself into their world for this conversation and I don't have to like talk about my own shit. I don't know. Something relates to improv.
Yeah. Improv is something in my
Improv
life.
is something, yeah.
Do you think? What would you think? How would your life would be if you were born 20 years earlier, with the mental illnesses that you said you have?
Oh man, I would be okay. Well, if I was born to my parents.
Because like you also have cultural influences about the
Yeah.
time you're in, so you don't have like limp bizket,
Yeah.
crazy. But like, because I always think like, what is like, because the movie The Exorcist.
Yeah.
There's people that believe that she just had extreme schizophrenia that was never untreated.
Oh, okay.
So there's that. So it's just like we have depression, anxiety, OCD, all this. What happens if you're just born you're in the 60s? Like, what do you do?
Oh man. Well, so my grandma had mental illness. I mean, she was. Yeah, she had to get like shock treatment for. I think.
Shock? That doesn't sound good for anything.
Yeah. Oh, I know. It was crazy. But she had like I don't think it was called bipolar at the time. I think it was called manic depression. Something. But she had that. And so I'm just thinking like all the drugs they put her on and how like they just like sedated her is they probably would have done that to me. Like I don't know. Like probably would have given me crazy drugs. My spine would have. I probably. I don't know. Would I have been disabled because I have scoliosis and I've had surgery on it? So like, what did they do in the '60s for scoliosis? Did they just like stick a screwdriver in your spine and like wish you good luck? Like,
I feel like maybe not the 60s, but I feel like there was a time where they just did surgeries for no reason. It's just like,
yeah.
oh, you have a splinter on your forehead. Let's bring out the scalpel.
Yeah.
Because there's like this one cartoon adult show, BoJack Horseman.
Okay.
And they did like a flashback scene and like his auntie or something like that was married to this guy. Is very like, it's 50, so it's like a domestic abusive husband.
Oh shit!
So,
Yeah.
but she said something, and she was very outspiritish, outlandish, and so like they actually like underwent her and took out a part of her brain, and then it's just like, I don't know. I'm not saying that, but I feel like stuff was like that. Like they didn't know
Yeah.
anything. She's like, oh, this fixes your wife. Here, take her back now.
Yeah, we think whatever's going on with her, that's a disease and it is not tolerated. Let's get rid of it. Yeah, maybe they would have just removed my spine. Like, here, we'll put a few rolls of toilet paper in there. Come back 20 years and we'll. Yeah, that's a terrifying thought. How would. I definitely would have been into some kind of drugs. I mean, what was available back then? I would have had all of it.
Because I also think it's like, where do you go for refuge? Because I also, when I see like these like police like situations where like it's just obvious the police are in the wrong, and then like this person's there, it's like, who can this person call? Like in reality, it's just like I just feel like the Hunger Games where it's just like, oh, like you got a peace trooper right there, just like they're abusing you. It's just like, what I can't do, I can't call another peace trooper. This will just abuse me too.
Yeah.
So it's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hope you shouldn't time travel.
I shouldn't.
You shouldn't.
I was actually planning on doing that yesterday, so so I don't know.
No. What do you think? How do you feel like? How do you improve upon it? Like, kind of like your daily activities and like binge eating and like your self love. Like, what is self love? How do you learn it?
I don't know how to learn it, but one thing that's helped me is avoiding looking at other people's stuff on social media. Like, I'll go on social media to post my own stuff, but I've really avoided looking at other people's things, especially comedians, because I do get triggered by it and I compare myself, and that's the worst thing. That's what fuels a lot of my drug addiction, my food addiction, everything. It's like the comparing myself and the self-loathing. So avoiding social media, like avoiding looking at other people's stories, which kind of sucks because I want to see what my friends are doing, but then it's like, oh, this friend bought a house, they're 10 years younger than me, and I can't do this, it's so terrible, and then I'm gonna go eat something to make me feel good about how much I hate my body because I've been eating so much. So it's like so I've learned to stop looking at social media as much, and then as far as where I go from there, I don't know.
How do you feel like when you see someone? Because I don't know, I'm 25, so I can't relate. I think you said like you're in your 30s.
Yeah, 37.
37. So like I don't know how that feels, because everyone's always been older than me for most of my interactions. Is it something that's, I don't know, not that I'm like super like, oh, I know everything, but I'm very selfless and I'm very realistic with situations, and like they got this outcome because like because they put in this XYZ. Do you think like, just think down to yourself when you see people like buying cars or like getting married or something, or it's like, I should do this, or it's just like, you know what, that's where they are in their life and that's their choices, or like what do you think?
I definitely get down about myself when I see stuff like that, and it does help me. I'm not consistent with it, but it helps me to say, like, to talk to myself like, Dana, you are in a completely different spot than this friend. That friend is in a completely different spot than your other friend. You all have, even my sister, my younger sister, like, she's super successful. I feel like she's the older sister in terms of success and stuff, like what I imagine a stereotypical older sister. Like, I look up to her and all the impressive things she's done, but then I have to come back and tell myself, like, I've always been different. I've always been different, and I still haven't accepted it fully. And so what goes with my always being different is these kind of things will always happen. How did I handle it before? When I was in middle school and something good happened to a friend, like she got asked to model for the Limited 2 store, and I didn't because I was tall and big, and I thought I was fat. Like, how did I get through that? I didn't really get through that. I'm still dealing with the pain from that shit today, but I got through it because I'm here now. So it's like, I will get over this pain of the, like, self-judgment, like, oh, And also I tell myself, like, okay, my friend, let's say my friend got married and has a house. It's like, number one, and kids. Like, I don't, like, I'm envious that she has, like, a house and can spend a lot of money on, like, nice groceries and stuff. But then I tell myself, you don't fucking want kids. You don't, I mean, I want to live with my boyfriend and grow old with him and live in the same place. I don't want to fucking get married. I don't want to, I don't want to own, I was going to say own cats, but I actually do want to own cats. So that's,
no,
yeah. So I just have to remind myself, like, these things they have, yeah, they might, like, be performing at, like, the shows, like, out-of-state shows or, like, out-of-state clubs, and or they might get a lot of views on TikTok. Am I posting 3 times a day? Am I stitching? Am I doing all this other stuff? No. Am I posting consistently? Am I introducing myself every, like, 5 videos to remind my followers who I am? No.
I didn't know you're supposed to do that.
It's not, you're supposed to do it every now and then, but have I done that? No.
Do you think, I'm not trying to, like, be like kind of go towards, like, deep paths, so I'm just curious, like, on your perspective, because people have a time, like a mindset when they're young that I need to do this by XYZ time or it cannot be completed. As you approach the end of your late 30s, when you make goals, is it like I can't I can't do that in my 40s, because there's all those examples of, like, the KFC guy. He wasn't successful until his 60s.
Really?
And then, like, they say Rodney Dangerfield, he was really bitter because he didn't get any of his success until later, like really later in his life. So do you think of it as just like, I'm still setting the same goals, or are you just like, wow, do I really want to think like be that person at 45, like doing XYZ still?
Yeah, I think about that a lot. Like, I've always had, like, age goals that I've never met, but then once I got to that age, I'm like, oh, I guess I didn't actually.
Yes, you're a joke. You're a joke.
Oh, what was I saying?
No, age goals.
Oh yeah, like, once I reached that age and didn't even try for that goal, I'm like, you know what? I'm glad I didn't do that, because I wouldn't have been able to do that. So, like, my goal was when I was 18, like, oh, I'm gonna go to ASU for 4 years. I'm gonna move to New York. I'm gonna somehow get on SNL and Broadway at the exact same time. I'm going to be able to handle it, and then I'm going to get married at the age 26. And then 26, I ended up, like, in the psych ward maybe for the first time. I don't remember how old I was. And then I was like, you know what? There's no fucking way I would be able to handle being on SNL. That is so much pressure. I would hate myself as soon as, like, my sketch was cut. So it's like, glad I didn't go for that goal. But so now it's like, okay, well, I hope I can do something big by the time I turn 40 in, like, 2.5 years, because for women, it's, I don't know. I mean, this is coming from, like, a place of self-loathing, so I definitely have my self-hate glasses on, but it's like, I would like to do something by the time I'm 40, because, when you're a woman, you shrivel up and turn into a pile of playing mother roles and playing the big fat best friend roles and being the feature act for some like, other woman, because no one else wants you on their show. This is all coming from a place of self-loathing.
I like you say feature because I know you feature, like, around how you like.
I know, I have. That's another thing. I tell myself, I'm like, why am I not doing this? Why am I not doing this? And it's like, I'm hosting at Stir Crazy this weekend. Why am I not at the other clubs? Why am I not at the other clubs? Are you writing every day? Are you going out to open mics every day? No, but they should know who I am, right? This is the shit that goes through my head. I could be going to open mics and writing and shit, but I'm just like, you caught me on an angry day.
No. What do you want to do in 3 years? Like, what is, like, a big, like, what is that thing? What is, like, you want to have something in 3 years? What do you want?
I don't know. I want to move. I want to have enough money, make consistent money from a job I can tolerate, or something that doesn't. I just want to make consistent money, move out of my parents' house. That's just, like, the basic. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Because I always think, like, that's why I'm developing. Like you do the you don't do photography. You draw pictures
Yeah.
and then you work on your computer. And I just think these are skills that I want to be able to increase to a level where I can do this full time. So
Yeah.
I can focus just have my life be like more in a hippy dippy way, just in the arts, in the scene, and just
Yeah.
be able to be like, I videotape someone's show, and then like, oh, here's like $200. I'm like, nice.
Yeah.
So be able to kind of be good at what I do enough, hobby wise, I can just get paid for that.
Yeah.
Is there anything like? Do you hope to do that with your pictures and animatronics things you work on? I don't know the verbiage.
Yeah, animation, animated cartoons. Yeah, actually, that is a big. So my boyfriend's an animator too. He has his own cartoon, and he's a music producer. So it's like I'm like my one of my big goals is just for us to have our own like creative studio where the two of us like he has his room over here, and then I have my room of creation, and then we can like both get together and create like paintings and like make nude oil paintings. I'm kidding. No, we would never do that. I would do that while he's sleeping, but whatever. Okay, so um, I want to have a big YouTube or a big popular live show, like a live stream show. I want have a lot of. I really like the. There's a podcast called H3. I really like how they run it. They have a huge following. They have a lot of different shows each week. The it's a husband and wife team. The wife has her own clothing line, but it's like cool art that she's created, and it's like I want to build a life that's where I make money off of stuff I create. Stand up writing. I want to write like a cartoon and make money off of it, and the show Workaholics, The Office. I want to do stuff like that. I have no. So I have these huge goals, but I don't know like.
No, definitely. I always think that's. No, it's always the dream, kind of be able to do like stuff just sitcom wise that's just like so improvisational. Because when I see Key and Peele, if you ever watch their outtakes, they're all like different punchlines and they're all hilarious. Like you see, like this could have been worked for the sketch just as well as for what they actually picked. And I'm like, wow.
That's a dream. Key and Peele. Oh, and then. Yeah, I mean, I would love to be. Yeah, I just make money, make a lot of money. I want a place like this studio where it's all mine, and I can just hang out in here all day, and like my man can join me sometimes. But he'll have to go to his room while I can be alone and watch my Britney Spears live videos from 1999 MTV Video Music Awards while I'm smoking really, really good weed. That's another thing. I want to be able to afford really, really good weed. I just want.
What is like? Because I know, of course, everything that takes the dedication of like. Because I hear people on SNL and like something that is there's this podcast with Neil Brennan. He has Chris Rock on.
Oh shit!
And it's like that's my favorite thing because Chris Rock just talks about how much he actually rehearsed in the mirror up to a certain point, how much he like was good for a year and then just bombed for like 2 years straight, 3 years straight.
Wow.
And just like how Adam Sandler was on set, just like that guy does the most like writing I've ever like most writing ever. Just wrote sketch after sketch after sketch. He's just always writing. What do you think you should change about like your work ethic? Or do you think your work ethic is at a place where eventually you'll be at this point where like your skills will be improved? So.
I want to get to a point where I am obsessive about my writing. Because I'm kind of in a point where I want to use my OCD and obsessive nature for good. My drawings, that's a lot of my OCD. Just the weird, or I'm not my drawings, my stand-up comedy. Like my one-liners are a lot of just intrusive OCD thoughts that happened while I was driving on the freeway, potentially smoking a weed vape. Not for legal reasons, I wasn't. And like stuff like that. I want to be obsessive about my writing. Anthony Jeselnik, he's like, you know his comedy?
Yeah, it's one favorite one-liners.
Okay, that makes sense. Because you're a one-liner. That's why I love your comedy. We have similar kind of comedy. Like you have longer short form bits. I think longer one-liners.
Yeah, because that's when I heard something that a lot of people say. And Tara, she said, like she has a lot of beginner comics come on and they have great premises, but they just like don't elaborate on them. So like
Yeah.
you'll hear like for me, if you ever like listen back like somewhere random, you'll see like a 5 minute bit from me. I'm talking about like 8 different things.
Oh shit,
So,
yeah.
and that's a common thing. So I just try working on writing like 3 to 5 tags a day, and those are just one liners. So
Oh, that's a good. So okay, you write what? Like you write a premise, or a joke, and you add 3 to 5 tags to just that one bit.
yeah. So if you like in my notes in my folder, I have tags for Alaska. Tags on a topic of looking like lookalikes. I look like Drake. I look like Dude. So,
Oh shit.
yeah, so I just
Okay.
have tags on all these things. You know, tags on marriage material. So yeah.
That's. I want to be organized. Like that's what I want. That's what I want to do. That and Anthony Jeselnik. I was listening to him on a few different podcasts talking about when he wrote for, I think it was a Jimmy Fallon show, and they would write just like, I think like 50 to 75 or whatever jokes a day that they would submit, and I thought like, that's what I want to do, and that's what art commissions is taking me away from, because I put so much energy and like overthinking and anxiety and procrastination into the art commissions, and it's like all that dread and like takes away from me, because I start writing more when I'm done with an art piece. It's like, oh, my mind is, that part of my mind is open again for new things that I enjoy. But I want to write like Anthony Jeselnik, like where it's just like Jose Liriano, you, Zach Allen, Savannah Hernandez. There's a few other. Oh, Carrie Medina, really fucking solid writers, and that's like, my writing's good. I write really funny stuff, but I just want to write more stuff. I want to try stuff that's not as absurd. Like, see, like, oh, maybe I could do a straight kind of bit that's not crazy, you know? But I just gotta sit down and fucking do it.
Yeah, that's why I had to stop painting, because I always just go towards things that are easier. Like I have a to-do list for everything. So maybe I'm thinking drawing characters is easier than writing jokes for you.
Totally is.
So, because I have a list, and it's like kind of get a workout in, write 5 jokes, do X, Y, Z, and I'll always do jokes last. No.
Oh my god, that's it!
Yeah.
Do you ever like put it off to like?
Every day.
Damn.
One time, like my goal is 5, but most of the time I'll do like 1 or 2 just to say I do something. But like,
that's good.
I know the best way for me to make new jokes is for me to rehearse my set in the mirror, because then like I'll never get through with it because I'll think of another tag.
Yeah.
So when I rehearse my set, it's not like just 7 minutes. It actually takes me like 20, because I'm always writing new things.
That's really smart. I'm inspired as fuck. See that again? That's why you gotta have people in this room to record every time, because it's inspiring, and I want to write like that, and I'm making it. I will do that. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna try. I will do that. Like, I just want to write a joke a day to start.
That's
1 joke a
yeah.
day.
Yeah, I mean the main thing is just making. I don't know. I'm not trying to like this is what you should do. But like.
No, I love it. I appreciate hearing these things.
But anytime I get into something, I make a habit of doing something. Like, I'm at the gym, I'm doing chest for 30 days in a row. First day I'm doing 10, 20, 30, 40 reps. And so like the 30th day is 300, but I'm making it duplicatable, because at the gym, if I'm working out a bunch of different body parts, and this is just me, like I'll just get lazy. But if I'm just like, this is the only thing I have to do,
Okay.
then it's just easier for me. So
Yeah.
like for this is content for me, and it's easy for me. But it's like easy. If I want to do this again, like my editing process, I'm just putting your name in the end and in the back end.
Yeah.
So it's not this is gonna take me a while like Grudge. It's just like it's duplicatable.
Yeah.
TikToks duplicatable.
And it's something you enjoy doing, or you've.
Well, yeah, because I want to like realistically, when have we had a conversation longer than 5 minutes? Never.
I know. What I had conversations longer than 5 minutes with a lot of comics, and when I do, I'm like, this isn't scary at all. What have I been avoiding?
Yeah. So it's also just doing that, because everyone I've talked to, I've never had a conversation more than 5 minutes.
Okay.
Except my mom.
Yeah.
But even when we did the interview, she acted like I wasn't her son. She's like, my 3rd son, Jeffrey. I'm like, that's me.
Oh wait, you did one of these of your mom?
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
But yeah, it's a cool one. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's also because like say in 30 years or like 10 years, you just want to kind of like look like oh, who was Dana in the year 2022?
Oh man, yeah.
But it's also cool. Like I thought of this from people who doing a legacy video. And the legacy video is like, say like there's a grandparent and she's like 99 years old. Like this person's gonna croak, but like to be able to have a conversation with her, then answer these questions, you get to know people that never met her get to know like, oh, this person was my great grandmother.
Yeah.
And this is like, what other time in life could you do that?
Yeah.
So,
And that's I love that about this. I did a video similar to this like 10 years ago. It wasn't a personal interview. It was more like an improvised. I don't even know what the fuck it was. I was alone in an ASU building with one guy I didn't know. That was not smart, but I did it anyway. It was fine. But I look back at that video, I'm like, whoa, I have changed, but I haven't changed. But it's cool seeing that.
well, to kind of wrap this up real quick, say you see this in 10 years from now, what do you expect or what do you want to say to yourself?
To me, what do I want to say to myself in 10 years?
Yeah, say you see this, YouTube is still up. What do you say to yourself?
I am so proud of you for moving out of your parents' house and addressing all your trauma, your whatever trauma or things in your life that have messed you up. I am so proud of you for buying something other than black leggings. I'm so proud of you for wearing jeans again because fuck the jeans haters. I am so proud of you for making so much money and being good with it and having money left over to spend on savings accounts and your future. And I'm so proud of you that you're headlining all these shows and people want to come to your shows. And I'm so proud of you for setting boundaries in your life and looking people in the eye and stop. I'm so proud of you for not abusing drugs, and I'm so proud of you for being with your amazing fucking boyfriend.
Fade to black.